My job's not to build a business, it's to build leaders. If you got a clipboard and a piece of paper to do it, great. If you do it one day a week or every day, great. But do more ride-alongs, get with your people. And ride-alongs could be the accounting team or the office staff, sitting with the people, watching them do their job, making sure they are able to do it. And if not, figuring out the gaps so you can help them fill it in with skills. That's how you change the capability of the team.
Welcome to the $100 Million Mindset, the source for business owners who aspire to scale, grow, and reach their full potential. Whether you're aiming for 5 million, 10 million, or 100 million. Your hosts are Alan O'Neill, the Irish plumber, who scaled Abacus Plumbing and Cooling to over 100 million, and tinfoil Todd Liles, a coach to high-performing business leaders and the owner of Service Excellence, are going to help you think bigger, act smarter, and take your business to the next level.
Hey, welcome to another $100 Million Mindset. Today, Alan and I are interviewing Aaron Behunin. And Aaron has a background as a world-class trainer with great organizations such as Milestone in Dallas and also Certain Path. And today, Aaron is at Abacus in the Austin location. And Alan got that Austin location started. And I said, hey, what a great opportunity to come in, visit with Aaron, visit with Alan, and we're also going to talk about where Aaron and I share a lot of common traits, which is in the zone of training. So this episode is going to be all about training your people, and I'm so excited to bring Aaron to the table. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Todd. I'm super glad to be here. It's awesome.
We're happy to have you. And Alan, thank you so much for bridging the conversation. I know Aaron is on Team Abacus Austin, so that's pretty cool.
It is, Todd. And as you know, you and I had a very big role to play in getting Aaron to the Abacus organization. We were looking for somebody. I called you and said, hey, do you know somebody great? And you said, actually, I do.
Yeah.
And so that's how it all started. And thankfully, Aaron decided to come on board Team Abacus, and we're absolutely delighted to have him.
Yeah, Aaron. So, where I first heard by the way, I'll get into that in a moment. I was going to start telling about how I know Aaron. But for the rest of the world, they don't know you. Give us a brief introduction of yourself. What's your background? Tell us about your background in the trades, your background in training, all those good things.
Awesome. I'm excited. So at age 16, I got into the trades after, growing up kind of heading life in the wrong directions. And I got in the trades, which was awesome because I got to learn how to build things and use my mind that was always kind of scattered to put it to some good use. So I became an apprentice electrician at age 16. By 20, I was a journeyman. By 25, I was a master. And I just really fell in love with what the trades had to offer. So thankful I ran into an organization similar to yours, and where you got your start, Alan, which is teaching home service companies how to be successful, because then I got to learn a whole lot more than a trade. I learned about being in business, and I learned about communicating differently. And that's why I love, helping people learn to apply the skills and the communication and continue to work in the trades as well. It's exciting.
That's awesome, man. Master at 25. That's quite an accomplishment.
That's amazing.
I had taken some time to wire, home theater systems. I was really into that. I was kind of into car stereo systems too when I was younger, hence some of the trouble back in the day. But that was a lot of fun. But then my first son was going to be born, and I thought, man, I need that real electrical trade again. So I got serious about it. I put my head down. The reason why I was that age, though, was my grandfather was a master electrician, and he was going to be passing away in the not too distant future. And I thought, man, if I could show him a master's card before he passed, that would be awesome. So I did a push, and I was able to meet that objective. So
that's really cool.
Great. Yeah.
Hey, when you were wiring home stereo systems or car stereo systems, I was into it as well, as much bass as possible. That was my theory.
Yeah.
Is that where you learned the difference between wiring in parallel versus series?
Yeah, if you put too many wires into that wire nut, you set your amps on fire, basically. Too much not enough resistance, right?
Yeah, so we're getting nerdy here, but every young car enthusiast that is wiring up their own speaker systems will learn that early on. Like, there is a substantial difference between parallel and series when it comes to how much power you can output on your subwoofers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You guys have lost me because water doesn't flow through any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of the background there. And today what you're doing is you're inside of your first 100 days. Actually, you're like in day 110 or so at this
Yeah,
point,
I'm out
right?
of 100. I somewhere. Yeah, I don't have the exact count, but I'm in my about fifth month now.
Yeah. So, and Alan, you'd brought it up. The way that I had heard about Aaron, this is what I was going to bring up before I asked about your background here, was I actually heard about you from my good friend Steve Egner, and you know
Oh yeah,
Steve,
Steve.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we've been training with Steve for years and years and years, and Steve's been a member of what used to be SGI and then PSI, now Certain Path. I met him there, continued to work with him after I was gone. When you were there, you were a trainer for the organization, and Steve called me up and said, "Hey, I'm going to have this guy Aaron out here." I'm like, "What are you doing, Steve?" "What are you doing, Steve? That's my training opportunities." He's like, "No, no, no. I want Aaron to come out and do some reinforcement training." I was like, "All right, well, let me know how it goes." And Steve just bragged on you. He's like, what a great guy. He really connects with the people. And Steve is one of those unique individuals that I have found that can really embrace multiple approaches to business and not be like one or only one. So
Mhm.
it was no big deal. But Steve bragged on you. He connected us and we started, talking a little bit, and that was good. And you were looking for new opportunities. And then like you and I spoke for, I don't know, we had a really deep conversation like 3 days before Alan reached out and said, "Hey, I'm looking for someone who actually has leadership skills." I'm going, lo and behold. And then I got you guys connected. It was just like perfect timing. So you guys got connected, and then you ended up being the new selection for GM and trainer and all things related to that over at Abacus Austin, which was pretty cool. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about like the culture and the dynamics of the first, 5 months or so, if you don't mind. So when you started working over at Abacus, what did you feel like you sort of discovered about the culture and the performance and the team dynamics there?
Well, I feel like I even though I wasn't exposed to it yet, I got interested in the culture from talking to Alan's people.
Hmm.
We met for almost a month back and forth talking.
Oh, was it that long?
Pretty close, not intense, but just a little bit of talking back and forth. Not that the formal interview process was that long. That was just how the timing worked. But getting to see that the vision that Alan had was living and alive in their people. They talked about changing lives and developing them personally, professionally, financially. That's exactly where, where my mission and values align. So immediately I was drawn into who they are, what they stand for, and where they're going. That's what I was most interested in. My first impression after arriving on site and getting to know the people is that they do have everything they need to be successful. You could see the vision was alive. The mission is crystal clear. The values are everywhere. They're doing a lot of the systematic things that we teach people that have never even experienced high level service before. They got all these awesome pieces. So that's like the first thing I walked into was like, wow, they've got what they need. They're set up. They know the process. The second thing I noticed is the people are really strong there as a team. They love each other big time. They are Austin, and then there's Houston, and those are geographical locations. It's one brand, but there's always unique aspects to satellite locations, if you want to call it that. They all have different personalities. Well, Austin's is really strong and really tight amongst their core. I thought that was really cool.
How do you mean? Like in what ways?
Well, I mean, a lot of times always you want to enroll your team members in your company vision and your company culture. That's huge. And they are. But they also have their own We Are Austin culture.
Yeah,
They're very interconnected. And I don't mean in a we're the outsider sort of separated way. I've seen that with offices that are in multiple locations. I mean in a we are there for each other. We are all the same. We're all here together. It was really cool. I haven't seen it as a local entity like that before, quite like that.
Hmm.
I thought that was fascinating. That was one of the first things that caught my attention. What else did I? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it wasn't always like that, Aaron. So, when we started Austin, my goal was to have a company that operated exactly like the company in Houston, like a McDonald's, right, or a Chick-fil-A or whatever it might be. And but we had some leadership in the early days that I think almost encouraged moving away from the parent, right? Like being their own thing and doing things our way. Like, okay, we'll listen to what's going on in Houston, but let's do it our way. And it just doesn't work. We had a company that had over 20 years of continuous growth. So obviously something was being done right. And our ask was that we continued to do it the Abacus way, as we like to say. So That was a struggle, Aaron, and I think it was a lot of hard work, and eventually we got on the right path, and by the time you came, it was 90% better than it was in the early days. But that's it's not anything I think you wouldn't expect to happen. People need to find their own identity and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a really strong location now, and it's doing really well, and it's come a long way. And even in the what's it, 5 months now, Aaron, since you've been there, I think dramatic changes have continued to evolve there, and all good stuff. So
That's good.
we're doing well. Yeah.
That's that right there. That what you said about the previous, I call it the previous regime. I don't know how else to say it, but
Yeah.
other leaders that did whatever they did. I don't like in contracting. You don't throw the other company under the bus. I never throw the other leader under the bus. But that prior regime was very disconnected in ways. They did try to build a separate identity for some reason. When what you said we would hope is the brand would align and we get on process. Well, that's why when I got there and discovered how tight they were, I didn't know that history yet.
Mhm.
But
Well, and to be clear, Aaron, sorry to cut across you, but to be clear, I'm not really blaming the leaders. I think it's so much harder when you're disconnected from the everyday indoctrination of
yeah,
the culture and the values.
It is.
It's hard. I was going up once a week for a couple of days at the start, and then when Tony took over the Austin location, he was going up as often as he could. But it just took a while, but it has come a long way. And again, no slant on the leaders. They were doing the best they could, but I do think it's come a long way, and I think it's getting as close to being very like the Houston location, or as close to being, a copycat of the Houston location as it could be.
So before I turn back to a question to Aaron, I have a question for you, Alan, because you've got something sparking in my brain. You're talking about Tony was going a couple times, you were going a couple times, and then I'm just going back into my mind thinking about the number of years that it took for you to essentially get Tony to the place where you're like, okay, you can take it over now. And then maybe we've talked about this before, but I don't recall. Was there not a like Tony-esque protege, for lack of a better term, that had been at Abacus Houston for 5 or so years that was ready for the Austin location?
There was, Todd, but what happened was shortly after I took over the Houston location, or I opened Austin, I moved Tony into a full-time president's role in Abacus Houston, and
Mhm.
I, as the regional CEO for Ranch in Texas, I was taking care of the Austin location. So Tony knew everything that was going on in Austin, but he wasn't there. He was focused on Houston. It was only when I stepped down completely into a consultant role that Tony took over Austin.
I see.
So yeah, for a year after Tony was the full-time president of Abacus Houston, I was taking care of Abacus Austin, and I left Tony just to focus on Abacus
So
Houston.
you were only doing Austin a day a week or so?
Yeah, about a day a week I'd go up to Austin and, check
Got it.
on everybody, maybe 2 days, and then back to Houston. Yeah.
So, but you weren't there all the time, so there wasn't a like living, breathing, 24/7 type person there.
So it's important to go back to the start, Todd. When
Yes.
we got the vision to open Abacus Austin, my biggest thing was we have got to get the culture right. I don't want an Abacus brand. I don't want an Abacus renegade brand in any city in the US. Like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the Abacus way. So that was playing heavy on my mind, and I was trying to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew we were going to open it, but how was I going to have a keeper of the culture in Austin? My CFO for the entire Abacus organization was based in Houston, and he came to me and said, "Hey, I know what's on your mind. I have a house in Austin. How about I be the CFO for Austin, the CFO for Abacus, but I'm based in Austin, and I'll be the protector of the culture." And I went, "Brilliant. That's brilliant. But I'm going to bring in, I'm going to bring in a GM. You're still the CFO, but I want you to be in the senior leadership in Austin and really watch the culture." So Brandon came in, and he was the CFO of Austin. We went through 2 general managers in 2 years in Austin, Brandon was the CFO, and Brandon put his hand up and said, "Hey, I'd like to get into operations now. I'd like to be the general manager of Austin." So Brandon moved into the general manager role in Austin, and he was doing well. I mean, he was doing fine, and he got an opportunity to go work for I think it was a garage door company as the president of that garage door company
I see.
with multiple locations. So he moved on, and that's when we hired Aaron to come in.
Got it. So
But we did have an Abacus Houston guy in the center from day one,
got it.
that in a leadership role.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's good history to have there, and thank you for that clarity. So that's going to bring us in. We are going to talk about training, but before we do that, we'll do just a little bit of a conversation about leadership and philosophy. Because you said something when we were visiting with you with my friends from Australia Alliance. And I don't remember exactly how you said it, but it was something along the lines of you feel like your role is to actually grow leaders. Is that how you said? What did you say exactly?
If I sit at like elevator pitch, I say my job's not to build a business; it's to build leaders.
There you go.
I didn't come here to build a business. I came here to build leaders.
Right. And the vehicle that's sort of your specialty is to do that through training. Training is how you communicate. It's how you create clear systems. It's how you coach things up. And when I say you, I mean including us, right? I'm a massive believer that if you have a communication challenge or a problem of any type in your business, you could probably bring it back to training somewhere. Where were we not training properly? So we're going to talk about training in a moment. But first, I want to ask you some questions about leadership. So, how do you define your leadership philosophy if you could put that in like a nutshell?
My philosophy, well, first is knowing the vision of what you're trying to become in the future. You got to know very clearly what is that thing we're creating, if you will. Secondly, is you got to be able to speak to the team in an inspiring way that they want to be part of that. We want them to enroll in the vision. Like, I want to be on that mission too. And then step 3 is to go do the things that it takes to get there. Show them by demonstrating, by being part of it, not just making recommendations or barking orders.
Mhm.
But look, let me show you the way. So casting that vision, I see it. I know where we're going, inspiring others to join and be part of it, and then taking a few steps forward and walking with them in that direction.
All right.
So, Aaron, how do you lead technicians who maybe have more experience, certainly maybe more ego than you? How do you lead those guys?
Well, I was a
Or girls?
technician with a bit of ego and experience back in the day. So, first of all, I can relate. I think the first thing you do is let them have a little bit of a leeway, if you will. Give them a chance to express themselves, even if it's not quite how you might want to do it. But also, it's okay when you're leading people. In fact, it's preferred when you're leading people to have others on your team that are a little better at doing it than you are possibly. I think some of us struggle with that. Is we think it has to be us.
Right.
No, it doesn't. You have to know where we're going and help them get there. But you want a bunch of rock stars on your team that are better than you.
Absolutely.
Ego's interesting because a lot of our technicians, they don't want to talk about their accomplishments. They're introverted. They feel like they're bragging. And then some of our salespeople are like, "Wow, I'm the greatest in the world. I got lots of ego to go around." So just helping them know that that's okay, to be proud of what you do, but don't do it in a way that sets you apart from others. Your ego should be proud of your accomplishments, not prideful that you're better than.
Yeah.
And then that helps the guys in a lower position say, "Hey, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And, maybe I am getting better at this." So I think you need kind of both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now I'm going to go back to that ego thing for just a moment, right? Because ego can be a motivator. It can help you build a lot of confidence, but it can also blind you a little bit.
Mm.
And when you get blinded, that can sometimes mean that a little bit of accountability can be missing. Because it's hard to hold someone accountable who's just convinced that they're right.
Mhm.
So how do you balance that? How do you balance keeping someone's confidence high, but also holding them accountable and keeping, things clear? Essentially, like, what is your approach to, and this happens in training, it happens in
Mhm.
leadership, it's all the way across the board. What is your approach to taking someone, adjusting the ego when it's off center, giving them some training, but yet not destroying their confidence, right? And it's a hard balance. Does that question make sense
Yeah,
though?
it does. And I think it also depends on the context. Is their ego in a place where they're still inside, I say on the reservation? Are they still on the reservation, or is their ego taking them outside the perimeter, right? And that's a little different conversation. But let's just say the ego could be a training barrier because they think they got it all figured out. I'm going to use that confidence and congratulate them in support of what they do well. In fact, I may put them in a position to share it with others. Use that confidence. If it's a little much and I need to give them some feedback, sometimes I use a technique of, it's because you're so good at this that I'm sharing these other things with you. It's because of your accomplishments that you're ready to hear a few more tweaks. So I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. In fact, I'm building upon it by maybe consider this method to go with it. A lot of times that's a little better than challenging, hey, what you're doing is not right. Or
All right. So, Alan, he's hinting to something, if you don't mind.
We're
I was hoping that we could do a little role playing, and you're already starting to do a little bit of role playing here. So let's set the stage here. Let's do something that we've not done on this podcast completely before, which is you and I are trainers. We know how to role play. Let's set the scene. I want you to create the environment to where my ego is not being my friend, and I want to hear how you do this because you're so good. I want to hear this because you got me going. Oh, okay, well, okay. So here, set the scene. I'll play the part once the scene is set. I'm gonna let you set it up though.
okay. So the scene would be some of your peers that maybe they're not as good on your level, but I've got them riding with you or observing you, and you're trying to teach them some things. And I'm finding out that maybe they're feeling a little undervalued, or maybe you're talking a little harsh to them, or you're not open to their ideas. They just kind of feel like you're a little full of yourself, and they're not, it's not what they signed up for.
All right, and so now we're in a coach correction meeting, or does it come up on purpose, or does it come up in by accident? How have you?
That depends how it comes up. Oh, in this scene, let's just say it came up by accident. I just kind of heard about it.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be chit chat with Alan.
Yeah.
Alan, they got me with some real dumbasses. They got these guys riding with me. I'm trying to show them what to do. They're just not paying attention, man. This one kid. Oh, hey, Aaron, how's it going,
Oh,
buddy?
hey, good morning, guys.
I didn't see you over there, Aaron.
It's all right. Yeah, I
I
moved a
wasn't
little.
agreeing with him, Aaron, just so you know.
No, I was moving a little stealthy.
Mhm.
I might have overheard the guys you've been helping with lately, though. I sure appreciate that, Todd. I've been hearing some really cool techniques you've been showing them out there. In fact, your numbers look great. I love the way you took that option technique, and you're really killing it with that.
Oh, thanks, man. So I appreciate you bringing that up because I've been wanting to talk to you. Like I know my numbers are really good, and they could be better. But I mean, I'm not sure why you got some of these guys riding with me, man. They're messing me up in the middle of my call. I mean, they're really throwing off my jam.
Oh, I can definitely appreciate that. I know what it's like when you're in your groove and you get off track. Sometimes you don't feel like you're hitting on those levels you want
Yeah,
to.
that's exactly it, man. They just get me off my center, you know?
Yeah, and I appreciate you helping them too. I'll tell you what, I might have a few ideas. Do you want to go sit down and we'll chat about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right. Well, hey, thanks again for doing a great work out there, Alan. It was awesome seeing you in the break room. I'm sure you
thank
got
you.
some
Yeah.
clients that are looking
I
forward to.
absolutely do. I got some systems to sell, Aaron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's some people looking forward to seeing you today. So
Absolutely.
I'll let them know you're on the way. But
All right,
let's
Aaron,
go chat.
talk to me, man. Are we you gonna stop putting these guys in the truck with me? Is that what I'm hearing? Because I'm feeling good about this conversation.
Yeah, that is not what I'm saying.
No?
No, I'm really excited. I'm glad you're out there doing it with them. First of all, yeah, I want to help you not be distracted. That's very important to me. And it's also very helpful that you're willing to take them because, man, I look forward to them seeing what makes you such a superstar. We celebrate you all the time, and that's exciting. And other people want to do that too. And I know sometimes when I was in a truck, I'd get a little intense and maybe come across a little harsh with some of my students before. I don't know if you've experienced that, but it can be uncomfortable when they interrupt and it throws us off our game. I'm just curious what kind of ideas you have of how we can maybe include them a little more.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate you saying the nice things about me, but I think what you're saying is they're going to be in a truck with me. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, it's not mandatory, but you mentioned a while ago that you had plans to continue to pursue your career and,
Yeah.
and elevate in things. This is just a really good opportunity to help you on that path.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, how about this? Sometimes I don't know that they're getting in the truck with me until the day of.
Hmm.
And sometimes I literally don't know until like I'm pulling out and they beat me and someone's hopping in the seat. I'll try to have a better mindset about that, but it would be helpful if I could have 5 or 10 minutes with them. Because the thing is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to be helpful, right? I'll be right in the middle of my sales presentation and I'm in a flow. I know where I'm going. I'm going from A, B, C, and D, and they'll jump in with an F item. And they're busting me up, man. It's like, it's really, and then I have to start over and they've introduced objections. So here's the gig. Before I rode with someone, could I know like maybe a little bit of time before and get 5 minutes with them? And what I'd want to do, this is what I want to say to them. I'd want to say, hey, I'm all here to help you. Any questions you have, I'll answer. But while you're in the truck with me, I just need you to just observe. And unless I call on you, don't talk because you mess me up when you talk. But that would be the thing I would ask. And I'm not saying I won't help them. I'll definitely help them. But man, if I'm working like a $40,000 sale and they start talking in the middle of my close, I just want to strangle one of these dudes. You know what I'm saying? I just want to kill them.
I can relate. I remember what that's like. I think it's a fantastic suggestion, not the strangling part.
No, I'm
But
just saying, like, give them a
having
chance to talk
that
to
and
them.
knowing they're coming out and having a few minutes to sit together. I think that's a fantastic idea. See, that's why I love you out there helping them. I need you to have a solution. So
So,
can we start that tomorrow? Would that be all right?
yeah, absolutely. If you give me 5 minutes with them, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And look, here'd be the only other thing I'd say. Let me give you some feedback when we're done. If they follow the rules, awesome. That guy can ride with me. I'll coach them up. I'll tell them what I know. I'll even give them a section to put in their 2 cents. But if I come back and say, hey, this guy can't keep his mouth shut, I'm not saying he can't do the job. I'll leave that up to you. But I will ask if you just don't put him back in my truck again. Is that cool?
That seems fair and reasonable.
All right. I could deal with that.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, man. That's cool. What do you think
Great.
about that,
Yeah,
Alan?
very cool. Very cool.
Oh,
I liked the way, Aaron, you appear to be listening to Todd as the tech, right? Because too often I think we've all been there where we go, oh shit, look who's coming in my door. I'm gonna have to listen to this guy. And you're listening, but you're not listening. But you look like you were intently listening and complimented him on his suggestions, and which I think were fair and reasonable. Like if you were my tech and you came in and said that to me, I'd be like, okay, I don't see anything wrong with this, So yeah, I thought it was really good by both of you. I thought you both did a good job, and I'd have to undo not disturb. It's interesting, Todd, because what you were bringing up, I felt like I've heard that conversation about 800 times before. Let me tell you, boss, what you're doing wrong, and I'm doing right. Yeah, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, and we've all had the technicians talking crap about someone, and the boss walks up on them, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been the guy that's in the truck. Like, yeah, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes the one that talks the most is just the one that's just most excited. They're just so happy to be there.
Either excited or nervous, and it's nervous energy spilling out of them.
Oh
Yeah,
man, they can talk at the worst
yeah,
time.
absolutely.
It's like they know that they fill the gap when they should be quiet. It's like when
Mhm.
the homeowner's making a decision. It's like, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk over their internal dialogue, and it's the worst. And a well trained salesperson can sense that. They're like, oh God, kid, you just killed my sale. What are you doing? That was a good role play, Aaron. I appreciate that.
I love that in your scenario. It's like, hey, can we have this idea to stage it in advance so I can set expectations? Because that's exactly what you get to when you do the ride-alongs. If you were to travel down that topic for anyone who's watching and experienced that before, is setting those clear expectations with that trainee. And I used to tell them, we love that you want to talk to people, but here's some guidelines. You can talk about yourself or rapport building. You can talk about the pets, if that sounds fun, or you can talk about anything the homeowner wants to talk about, as long as it's not the company, the problem, or the solution. Those are my jobs to talk about. Everything else is okay. And then the final rule is never interrupt me or speak when we're at the kitchen table at all. And other than that, make yourself comfortable, get to know the customer, but don't do those other things. So there's some best practices if you are doing ride-alongs with people.
I love it, man. All right, so what other best practices do you have for ride-alongs since you brought it up? It's not anywhere in the questions here, but I think it's good.
Yeah, we just go where the conversation goes. For ride-alongs, well, one of the things you mentioned is they just show up in the morning, surprise. I'd like, if you're going to do ride-alongs, here's what I recommend. Plan in advance who's doing the riding, who's doing the watching, and a specific area of focus for the day. It can't just be ride along and learn stuff. Who's doing the showing, who's doing the watching, and what's the specific target for today? And then an opportunity for them to reflect at the end of the day, how did it go? And then that way the person who's doing the showing can make their van look nice if there's an opportunity to improve. They can get in their mindset. They tend to show up a little bit better that day. They're ready and good to go. And then the trainee knows what to expect. They have those ground rules, if you will, but they also have that one particular area of focus for the day. I think that's huge in any training, especially a ride along. So they're not just present, but they're anxiously engaged in that thing they need to learn, and then debriefing it. Those would be my best practices. And then don't interrupt the trainee. If you're the one watching and they're practicing, that's so hard, we all know, to let them stumble. Unless they're going to really make a huge mistake, just let them stumble. It's okay. You have to be all right with that so they can learn and you can coach them.
Let's talk about this. And here's the reason why I want to talk about this specific thing on the world of ride-alongs. because I think that there are multiple modes of ride-alongs, right? There's the ride-alongs that we do when we get to do it consistently. We're part of the company, and we're going to do a whole bunch of them. And then there's ride-alongs that are being done where we are sort of coaching in the middle of the ride-along. It's sort of like call by call, but done in the truck with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also ride-alongs where you're really doing show and tell. Hey, you watch and learn from me,
Yep.
right? So, hey, I'm watching and learn from you, whether you do it good or bad. Hey, I'm going to coach you in the middle of this call. That's sort of ride-along number 2. And then ride-along number 3 is, no, you just watch me and just observe. And I think all 3 of them have value.
Yeah.
But what I think is also helpful is to break down when they should be done. And I've done all 3. I've done all 3 from the position of being a company owner, and I've done all 3 from being in the position of being a trainer in the field. And what I have found is that there are certain times that you should implement those things. But oftentimes, before AI especially, AI sort of changed the game on this. AI now using, Reel and other type things, you can listen to what's going on in the call so you can sort of experience, hey, I'm here to observe in advance, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But before that, oftentimes there was no substitute other than I'm going to observe it. So here's where the question comes in, Aaron. I have a interesting thought about the idea of paying a trainer such as us or someone else large sums of money to come in for just a day and you just watch me sell. And my interesting thought about this is that if I've only got a trainer for a day and they're going to charge very large sums of money, and all you do is let one technician watch you sell, you've probably wasted a lot of money. I don't think that that's very scalable, and nor do I think it's very repeatable. Now, if you've got a lot of time and you're inside of that company and you're going to be there for days or weeks, or you actually work for it, do that a lot. But just to do it for one day, it seems like not enough is caught in that one instance that it makes the value worth it. But I know there's lots of people that are in the training world that do that, and people get super excited, and I'll find out from them, like, "Well, how did it go? How'd your guy? Your guy was super excited, but how was his results?" Well, he can't do it. Of course, he can't do it. He watched a guy who mastered
Mm-hmm.
doing this for 2 years do it for 2 calls. Why would he be able to do it just because he watched it?
Right.
So I'm actually being judgmental. I'll be very honest, Alan and Aaron. I'm being judgmental going, I, as a professional trainer, think that just if all you get to do is that 1 or 2 times, it's a huge waste of money. I think that should be an accumulation of lots and lots and lots of training where a person is mentally caught on and they're not seeing it for the first time. They're seeing it for the 20th time, but now they're seeing it in real life. It's like there was a lot of practice that happened before then. Now, I encourage you to answer the way you really feel. And if you feel like I'm totally wrong on this, then tell me and tell me why.
I believe you're spot on that. In fact, I've got case studies in my own life to experience to prove it. Yeah, I believe you're absolutely right. If you just want to have pay big money to watch the show, well, go to a concert or something. Like, yeah, you'll enjoy it for an hour, but what are you really going to take from it? I agree completely. And if you've been in a program for a while and you've worked and you've mastered your skills to the best you can, and now you just want to see the master paint the canvas, well, then sure, go watch. And maybe what that would do, I think the biggest value there, if you really wanted to do that, would be cementing that belief that, yep, the master does the skill, and that's exactly what I can aspire to. And I've been learning all the right stuff. That would have to be a culmination of learning and doing and growing for it to be worth it, in my opinion.
I have a thought on it.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, like in my mind, and I can name you a handful of trainers that's what they do, right? They go in, they get in the truck with somebody, and they sell the jobs. And I think the owner is kind of fooling himself or herself in that case, because I think what they're paying for is they're paying a sum of money, hoping they'll get 2x their money back in sales on that given day. And so they're not really paying for training; they're paying for a
hired gun for the
hard gun for the day. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't have my words weren't as kind as that, but they're paying for a hard gun for the day, and really the reason they don't have their own herd going is because they haven't invested enough in training to get the person to that level,
Yes.
or some of their people to that level. So it's not anything I would ever endorse people doing. I think you'll make a little bit of money on the day if you're lucky, if the guy performs and he sells $50,000 and you pay 25,000 for the day or whatever it might be. It's not really serving your team. I
No.
don't think. That's just my opinion. And not critical. If the guys can get that money for doing it and the owner's willing to pay, that's capitalism for you, right?
I actually am critical of it.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to tell you why I'm critical of it. I feel like there's a lot of HVAC contractors, plumbing contractors, electrical contractors, roofing contractors that will actually do what they are being asked to do if they are promised an easy button. Give me an easy button, make a promise to me, and then if I can hit the easy button, oh, cool. I think if you go out and you have the ability to sell like that in the field, you probably have the ability to sell yourself to someone to do that. You hit the easy button. See, look, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I earned my money. Easy button. Oh, wasn't that exciting? He paid for himself. He didn't change the company. And here's the reason why I have a problem with it. I'm going to give you this analogy. My son had his first concert. He's a sixth grader. He had his first band concert last night. And it consisted of them playing like 5 notes, boop, 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 right? And then the finale was hot cross bun, burr, 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 burr. Is he a trumpet player? Yes. At a 6th grade level, that has now had about 3 months of trumpeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got that guy. That guy is in the learn mode, right? He is in the learn mode. He's not, don't put that guy in a truck. He's in his first like 90 days. He's in his first steps of electrical school. He shouldn't be, he's not even an apprentice yet.
Right.
He's in freaking school. All right. So we're not there yet. Now let my son go until he is a junior or a senior, right? If he sticks with this 5 years, he's playing some songs now. And now you bring in this guy and goes, hey, let me listen to you play. And then he plays. It's like, oh, you did some things that were really great there. Let me coach you up. Huge, huge learning lesson for this guy. Now, if he goes, hey, I'll tell you what, I want you to pay me $50,000. Now listen to me play. And again, my son's a junior. My son's going to be inspired. He doesn't have enough skill sets for, let's just say if it was Kenny G or Louis Armstrong. My son's going to be inspired by listening to Louis Armstrong. But he doesn't have the skill sets to watch Louis Armstrong and go, I can apply that now. But put my son now in a position where he's kept playing. He's made it to college. He's a professional musician. And he goes, hey, Louis Armstrong says for big sums of money, you can come watch him play. Now when my son watches with a professional critical eye, he goes, oh, hey, Louis, now listen to this. And Louis goes, you got it, bud. It's a matter of when it's applied.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's wrong if it's applied at the highest level. The people that should be getting that guy going, let me show you how to sell, are the people that are probably already doing $4 and $5 million a year in sales. Now, give me a guy that's doing $4 or $5 million a year, and get me now. Let me watch Dale Still do his sales process over at Gettle, who's doing 10.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a guy that's doing 500,000 and watch Dale do his process. You just wasted your money, bud.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
He don't even know what he's looking at.
Yep.
So that's why I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying there's a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place for it. And most of the time, your guy ain't ready. I
think we were saying the same thing, Todd, because I'm saying they didn't have enough training to begin with.
They didn't have enough. Yeah, you got it.
So.
You got it. Yeah. So, ride-alongs, right? Let's talk about what you guys are doing at Abacus. Are y'all incorporating Rilla or any of the software right now at the Austin location?
Nope.
No? Okay. Just talk to me about it. I'm curious as to where the thoughts are there.
On the technology?
it's hard to get um anything to do with IT approved through wrench. They're on their own path with that stuff. That um
It's sort of like letting the cat into the mouse cage, isn't
yeah,
it?
letting the alcohol get into the Guinness factory, like, yeah. No, it's just it's hasn't been approved.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to say it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's some great software out there. I mean, I think Rilla is fantastic. I think Chirp is fantastic. Some of the AI programs that are out there are fantastic, but generally they haven't been brought into the wrench companies yet.
Well, I'll just say in a weird way, I think in some ways that I might find the reason for that refreshing. I don't know what the reason is. And I have two wonderful people here in the studio with me that work directly still with Wrench Group. And believe it or not, I'm not sitting around picking their brains about the inner workings of Wrench. I never talked to Alan about that. We talk about the
No? Yeah.
podcast. So I'm asking, is that an area just that I should just leave that alone right now, Todd?
I think we should talk about other stuff, Todd.
Perfect. I can read it between the lines. Thank you very much.
Curious about an opinion on technology and the ride-alongs outside of a corporation. I've got some experience. If you think that's helpful,
Yes, let's talk about your outside corporation experience.
Just
Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have really good friends at both of the big names that make those ride-along technologies, and I like how real a voice that says the end of ride-alongs, and every manager in the country got excited. And I'm like, that doesn't apply to you. You're not even doing ride-alongs. So it might be the start of ride-alongs because most people don't do them anyway. So having a technology that they think, right? I mean, it's not the
The end of
something. It's
ride-alongs.
not even-
Yes, I hated those things.
Yeah, and when did you do one?
Yeah.
So, because managers, they're technicians first usually, and then they learn and they get excited and they want to be out of the truck. You're a manager, you're out of the truck. Well, the smart move is if you're the GM is to say, now get back in the truck on the passenger seat.
Mhm.
They think they've arrived in the office, but there's no relationship built in the office. There's no hands-on knowing what they're doing done in the office. So that's one of the things we did at Abacus once we got them through the 100 days and up and running was we set a clear expectation that service managers are in the field. You have your days in the field every week. You must go out and work with your people. And that's how one of the ways we turned electrical around so quick is by getting in the truck with them. There's no better way to build a relationship with your team member and show them that you're willing to try to, even if you're not great at it, and coaching them through in the moment. Because otherwise, you're just training blindly. You're just guessing. You're not really improving behaviors,
Mhm.
no matter how much you train, if you don't actually know what they're doing, right? So
I love
if
that.
you got technology to do it, great. If you got a clipboard and a piece of paper to do it, great. If you do it one day a week or every day, great. But do more ride-alongs, get with your people. And ride-alongs could be the accounting team or the office staff sitting with the people, watching them do their job, making sure they are able to do it. And if not, figuring out the gaps so you can help them fill it in with skills. That's how you change the capability of the
Yeah.
team.
It's interesting, Todd. A few years ago, well, it's probably several years ago now, we went through a period where we had every dispatcher at least once spend a day with a technician in the truck just to see the world from their perspective.
That makes great sense.
And then, we had the technicians come in and spend one day with the dispatchers to see the world from their perspective. And the amount of respect that they developed for each other when they realized like the techs don't have it easy out there and the dispatchers don't have it easy in there was eye-opening. And I'd encourage everybody to do that. Like, let the tech see how tough it can be in the office. Let the office staff see how tough it can be in the field, and just this mutual respect develops that sometimes is lacking.
That's Aaron, have I told you, Alan, I don't know if I've told either of you, have I told you about the very first electrical system cell I ever made?
I'm
No.
not sure. I don't think so.
Okay. Since we're talking about role playing and riding along and training, I got to tell you this story. I am at Rick, I think his last name is Morris. It's Mr. Electric in Washington, D.C. And he had called me up and said, hey, I want to do a week long of training. And we made a whole plan. We are going to start on Monday. It was going to go all the way through Friday. It would accumulate on Friday with doing some ride-alongs in the field. So I had 4 days to do some deep training with these folks. I'm like, yeah, well, this will be good. We can do this. So I got there, and Rick had called up 2 of his other electrical buddies. They were all 3 fairly small. So there might have been like 10 guys in the room. And we trained and we drilled Monday through Thursday. Boom, 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 drill. And these guys were looking pretty good by Thursday. It was just constant intense training. So on Friday, we're doing ride-alongs, and I get sent out with 2 guys per ride-along, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we did call the client and said, "Hey, we're doing training. Do you mind if we send 2 guys from other companies along the way so they can watch?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, fine, no problem." So we go to the first one. Technician goes. I'm in my shirt. I think I'm wearing, I don't remember if I was wearing a Rick shirt, but we all had 3 different shirts on, so it was all lined up. He did fine, made my notes, gave me his feedback. It was all fun. It was good. And then we go to the next one, and I'm standing behind the guy that's going to knock on the door and take the lead. And he knocks on the door, and beat. He gets behind me. He's beat red. He pushes me in the back and goes, "You do it."
Oh, you did tell me this one.
Yeah, and
That's
the
funny.
door opens just as it occurs, like, "You do it." And it's like, and I immediately go into it. "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. How you doing today? I'm Todd Liles, and I'm with Mr. Electric. It's great to see you. Thank you for having me." And we go straight into the call, right? So I go through the whole beginning, the whole middle part of it, all of it. And then when he shows me his bathroom where the electrical problem is, I go, "All right, wonderful." Now, normally we always say, "Hey, Alan, we'd love for you to come along and check out what we do today." But in this case, I didn't, because I'm going, I need to talk to this electrician.
Yeah. See what's going on here. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was Warren and Ruth. It was a husband-wife team. And I said, "Hey, guys, we have this wonderful club membership program. Could prevent a lot of problems. Might even have prevented this one today if you had it. I'll tell you what, take a look at it. We're going to go find out what's going on with your system. And when I discover all the areas, I'm going to come back and show them to you, okay?" So they're like, "Oh, this is great." So we go into the bathroom, and I go, "Dude, I'm not an electrician. I know all the things to say, but you're going to have to tell me what we see here, all right?"
Hmm.
So he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing it." I'm like, "What do you mean you pushed me and said, you go?" I didn't have any options here. To sort of bring it to a conclusion, we found the problem. He's like, "Okay, we're going to go tell him." I'm like, "We haven't done a full diagnostic yet." Like, "No, remember, we got to go through the checklist." We went through the checklist, and we get down to the panel. He's going, "Oh my gosh, he's telling me all the things that are wrong with it." It ended up being like a $24,000 sale. And we can role play some of the funny closes at the end. But I did the whole thing. He communicated to me, and I made sure I had the technology down and all that. And he watched the whole thing happen. And when we got into the truck, he was super excited that he'd never seen a $24,000 anything sale.
Mm-hmm.
He was super stoked, going, "How did you do that? You're not an electrician." I said, "You told me all the things that were wrong. I am an HVAC technician by background. If you just tell me what's wrong, I'll communicate that, right?" It's like, I just followed the system that I've been sharing with you. Now, I still go back to what I'd said, which was it would have been better for him to do it, and I could have coached him up. That would have been better, but it was going to be no call or, at all.
Nothing or, yeah.
It's going to be nothing at all, so it was worth doing. So that was a really funny experience, but I'll never forget the feeling of those 2 sweaty hands into my back pushing me hard and him going, "You do it." And I'm
Wow.
going,
Wow.
"Well, I guess I'm doing it today."
Mhm.
The lesson from today's episode is simple. Training works. Aaron reminded us that one of the best ways to make your training effective is to get into the truck, ride along, and coach in real time. That's how you build trust, and that's how you turn good technicians into great professionals. Alan shared that same conviction and taught that culture isn't created in meetings. It's created in shared experiences where everyone learns to see the business through each other's eyes. So here's your challenge, listener. If you want a stronger team, spend more time with your people. Coach their confidence, correct their habits, and don't quit until the numbers and the behaviors show that it's working. Do it the right way, even when it's hard, because great companies practice in the training room so that they can do it in the field. And that's the $100 million mindset.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the show this week. Head over to toddliles.com/mindset to get the show notes. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a new episode of the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, then share it. It really helps us get the word out. You've been watching the $100 Million Mindset with Alan O'Neill and Tinfoil Todd Liles.